Okay, people, I have a very big Chicago update for you guys, and there really is some breaking news that just popped off. Okay, this is fresh off the presses. A giant Chicago case has now finally been solved once and for good, and we can report, man, notorious 600 member Bitedown has been found guilty on 2 counts of murder. The murder of his pregnant girlfriend. He shot up the whole house with the family in it. Now, before I get to some of the reactions about this case, okay, let's refresh our memory, because I did a whole video. It was 6 hours long, literally exactly 6 hours long, about 600 the killer rappers who terrorized Chicago. And in this video, Bitedown 600 was somebody whose case I broke down, okay? I only spoke about it for 5 minutes, but I got all the details here. So let's just do a quick recap of Bitedown's case, and then I'll let you know why a lot of people are actually celebrating the fact that he has been found guilty of this double murder. Let's check it out. Bitedown is a lesser-known member of 600, an occasional rapper who had his own aspirations in music.
Going like a Hell yeah.
Body dropping the mixtape coming soon.
Oh, that's what it is?
Body dropping the mixtape coming soon.
Oh, that's gonna go.
Man, body dropping the mixtape coming soon, man. That coming, me. Mixtape, oh damn it.
Bitedown had a seemingly close relationship with the notorious killers King Von and T-Roy from O-Block, and could be seen hanging with them on social media. Bitedown himself was also seemingly active in the streets, as Rondo No. 9 from 600 would imply in his hit song Taliban, where he raps, "He'll have Bitedown smoke your top." One rumor would later circulate, suggesting that Bitedown was one of the people responsible for shooting up the funeral of Jaro City member Tutu, who was killed in 2011. Bitedown was also known by the name Bitedown 2 times, or simply 2 times, with the tradition of adding a number and an X, typically referring to the number of bodies that a member supposedly has, with Bitedown's victims, according to some rumors, being 2 members of MOB. It seems that Bitedown clearly had a penchant for violence, but unfortunately, in November 2016, Bitedown would end up adding several notches to his body count, and all for the wrong reasons, in the process becoming one of the most notorious members within 600. At the time, Bitedown had been in a relationship with his girlfriend Imoni House for some time, and the couple even had 1 child together and were apparently expecting their second. Due to Bitedown not having his own place, he had reportedly spent time at his girlfriend's house, where the girlfriend's mother and 4 younger siblings also lived, including her 16-year-old brother Elijah House. However, more recently, their relationship had turned rocky due to Bitedown allegedly being both mentally and physically abusive and making Imoni's family deeply dislike him. At some point, he became unwelcome in their family home, and there were also some signs that Bitedown was having some mental problems. For example, in mid-October, he would tweet how he thought he was losing his head, and unfortunately, a few weeks later, that would be exactly what happened. According to later police reports, on the morning of the 2nd of November, Bitedown had entered Imoni's house, where an argument would break out between the two. During this fight, Bitedown allegedly choked Imoni and questioned her about another man that she was seeing in a sexual way. There's also redacted sections that might indicate that the child that Imoni was pregnant with wasn't in fact Bitedown's, and that another man might have been the father. Bitedown would allegedly cry and beg Imoni not to leave him before seemingly leaving the house. Later, at around 10 PM that night, Bitedown would make a cryptic tweet where he says, "Thinking it's shake that time DT," accompanied with a red cross mark emoji. Sometime after this, Bitedown would seemingly arrive at Imoni's house again, which Imoni was seemingly aware of. However, once there, Bitedown would allegedly get into an argument with Imoni's 16-year-old brother Elijah, who had likely confronted Bitedown over how badly he was treating his sister, amid suggestions that he had previously been abusive to her. They eventually got into a full-blown fight, which Bitedown apparently lost, and seemingly blinded by rage, Bitedown would leave the house, likely to retrieve his gun from the car outside before re-entering. He would then approach Elijah with the gun, while Imoni's mother attempted to separate the two, but she was unable to stop Bitedown, who then shot Elijah. Unfortunately, Bitedown didn't stop there, and he would aim the gun at Imoni and Elijah's mother, shooting her in the back as she tried to escape. Immediately after, he aimed his gun at Imoni, shooting her as well, killing both her and the unborn child. Meanwhile, the mother, who was still alive but able to move, attempted to crawl away, but Bitedown would soon aim his gun back at her, shooting her once more in the leg, after which she played dead, finally making Bitedown leave her alone. But despite being hit multiple times, the mother would end up miraculously surviving the incident. Bitedown still hadn't had enough. At this point, likely committed to killing anybody that he deemed as a witness, he would then head upstairs, where he would also shoot Imoni's friend, who had also fortunately survived the shooting despite being hit in the neck. Bitedown would then flee the scene, leaving behind his 5-month-old baby in a house with 4 people who had been shot. 2 would ultimately pass away. Luckily, even after being shot multiple times, the mother was able to get help, likely saving her and Imoni's friends' lives. Now, this is one of the most heartbreaking scenes that I've ever covered, and this goes far beyond gang violence to somebody that could have easily been the plot in a serious horror film. But this is real life with real people, and there would need to be real life consequences. Bitedown had initially got away with this, fleeing the scene without a trace. However, a few days later, a police officer noticed 2 men driving without wearing seatbelts and pulled them over. Bitedown would give the police a fake name, and he was miraculously allowed to leave the scene, but it seems he would have gotten away with this situation if his friend didn't choose to erratically then merge into another lane straight after the stop in front of the cops. The police then decided to go after the car to issue the driver a ticket, but when they stopped the car and told Bitedown to show his hands, he refused before taking taking off running. Officers believed he was armed and proceeded to tase Bitedown, finally leading to his arrest, when he would ultimately be taken in and charged with multiple offences. The most serious ones being first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, aggravated battery by discharging a firearm, and the intentional homicide of an unborn child. However, despite this arrest taking place in 2016, Bitedown is still awaiting trial today in 2024, with many following the Chicago drill scene confused as to why this trial has taken so long. And despite the incredibly brutal nature of this crime that is frankly unforgivable, that hasn't stopped 600 members and their allies from showing blanket support for Bitedown. For example, childhood friend of his King Von would rap Free Bitedown in numerous songs, such as Straight to It and Think I'm a where he would rap an ironic line saying free Bitedown and that he doesn't fight. Von would even encourage female fans to get in touch with Bitedown while he was behind bars, claiming he was now single and believing that he was due to come home on bail imminently. Mimo 600 would call for Bitedown to be freed and even claimed he's innocent, writing, "When a dog is cornered, it will bite," whilst adding 2 times, which in this context kinda looks like he's being praised for the double murder that he committed on a woman and a teenage boy. Now, the praise that Bitedown still receives from his gang is incredibly disturbing when you consider what he is actually accused of doing. But ultimately, it's no surprise. When you consider the fact that most of these young men find themselves involved in this perpetual gang war, are fully desensitized to violence, then it kind of makes sense in a very twisted way. These young men have been around death and murder for so long that something this shocking could be considered normal behavior. Bitedown himself would tweet not long before these tragic events how he'd been involved in gang life since elementary. But moving into 2017, despite the dark clouds that were now all over 600, something interesting would happen, as one of the rapping members, 600 Breezy, would end up being rewarded for his efforts in the music game.
So it was a very despicable crime. It was very wrong, really not cool, really not something to glorify. But you had people like King Von telling people, yo, right to Bitedown, he's single. Okay, very twisted stuff. And one of the people who took massive issue with this was, of course, Lil Zay Osama, because it turned out that the woman that was killed was actually his cousin, basically. He was cousins with them, and he was really not feeling it. So look, we already covered in a previous video, basically Lil Zay Osama had kind of stood on business and pressed a few people for talking about free Bitedown, and he'd bumped heads with King Von about it too. So Lil Zay Osama touched on this in a few different interviews. Here on No Jumper, he mentions it and mentions how he wasn't feeling everybody saying free Bitedown after, you know, the murder of his cousin.
Definitely. Beef and shit before it was cool. Like,
it was never no beef. It was never no beef. It was a situation where my girl cousin got killed.
Yeah.
And a nigga that was from 600 did it. Yeah. Because that was his baby mama. So he was mad on some baby mama, baby daddy shit in the crib together. They had their baby sitting right here. Plus he was pregnant with another baby by him. And he killed her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those things where, like, if you around that, if you even like promote anything with free him or any of that, I'm on your ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that. Like, but Von was some shit telling me, like, bro, you know ain't nobody rooting for him. I understand what he did to your cousin and shit like that, but you know he all alone in his shit. He by himself. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to look out for him and at least help him get home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was his homie. Before any of this shit happened, you know what I'm saying? That's Von homie. So he was probably trying to just help him get in a better situation, whatever the case of me. I ain't give a fuck at the time. I was ready to go to war, whoever about that shit. You get what I'm saying?
It's a nigga named Bitedown?
Yeah, you know.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it was one of those situations that was like anybody that promote that shit, boy, or involve themselves like that, still a homie anything, I'm splacking their ass, you feel me?
Yeah.
So me and Von, that's why our tension in our relationship had came in at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he had tension with King Von around about this, and he actually would end up leaking the exchanges that he had with Von about this thing. You know, basically he had a back and forth. They said, do me a favor, keep Bitedown name out of your songs. And they went back and forth. He basically stood on business and said, you know, people know what's up. This ain't nothing new. All right. We're not having that. Okay. He's saying Von said you should keep it in the street. I'm trying to get him a bond. I don't care what he did. I understand how you feel. It's what you're standing for. And basically he said, I never dissed Von. I never said he ducked it, but I had to stand on business. I had to stand on anybody that's promoting free Bitedown, and that's facts. And he's basically saying that he stood on business. He told Von what it was. He said, I don't know your people, Slime, but I ain't nobody finna talk to me about no type of way or nothing. That dude got me effed up. All right. That's what Von said. And Zay said, look, I don't care what you got going on, bro. Don't say F my cousins, Imoni and Woogie. That's fam. I mess with you. That's weird. With you and Toon, you throw it out the window. I hollered at you and I hollered at him. That's dead. Y'all don't mess with each other. Y'all don't talk to each other. That's how we're going to play it. It should be no more arguing back and forth. he went back and forth, and he said, I never said Von tucked his tail. Everything I said, I'll say here. Where you get the narrative from that he ever played with me. I sent my love. I said RIP and Von top 5 in the rack. Anybody that promoted the bite down thing, I said some facts. And he basically said, yo, don't anybody promote free bite down. But in the end, we basically saw just every member of 600 basically say free bite down. Okay, they stood on it. Okay, 600 Breezy said free bite down. Cap F12 said free bite down. Everybody hopped out the window to say free bite down. But right now, ain't no free bite down, man. He probably getting life. He's been convicted of double murder. It's really not a good look. Okay, and a lot of people have been responding to the news. Okay, Chiracology, all right, the main subreddit for Chicago drill news and updates, are saying, let's go, F bite down, and anybody rocking with him. They're popping champagne like they won the championship, man, because they're saying F bite down. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say F bite down because I'm scared of these 600 fools, but realistically, this is somebody who needs to be in prison forever, all right? They're saying his own homies didn't rock with him. He didn't even have a lawyer. That's what a lot of people have been saying. Okay, and all my homies hate bite down. He really was the devil. He had to go. I hope he changes mindset and life around and find God. Which God? I don't know if he's going to find God. God ain't looking for him in there, unfortunately. They're saying we should make this annual F bite down day for the sub, man. Annual F bite down. They're saying, I hope this dude rots and F anybody who disagrees. Okay, this is a really bad guy. And, you know, there's basically been back and forth about this whole thing. There's been a bunch of, you know, posts that have gone up. Obviously, Lil Zay Osama has responded to the news. Okay, and he's responded. He said, they screamed, free you, but you fought the case with a public defender. Now you got to turn, and rot. Bitch ass dude. I got whatever for who beat him on any deck he land on, merched, hit me. So he is putting up money and basically saying, anybody that can beat Bite Down's ass on the yard, I got a bag for you, which is actually crazy. I'm honestly not sure that federal probation is going to like that, putting money on people's heads. But, hey, Lil Zay said he got the bag for anybody that can touch Bite Down, and it's a really bad look, okay? So, J Money's baby mama actually came out to basically say, they said you got a public defender, but he actually didn't, okay? She refuted the claims by Lil Zay that he had a public defender. I said, they say you got a public defender. He had a paid attorney. I sat there through the whole trial while he fought for his life, and he had a female judge and all female prosecutors. Of course, he wasn't going to win a trial with all the MS who work off emotion. Y'all got to stop running with what these blogs saying. This ain't the end. And yeah, he might got found guilty, but God got the last say. I don't think you even want to know what God has to say for this fool. When he makes it up to God, yeah, God going to be standing on business on Bite Down. I'm not going to lie. God ain't going to be feeling what Bite Down did. So you are an absolute clown for even suggesting that that's going to be the case. People have been saying, don't believe the remorse. They're saying that it's cap. They're saying that Bite Down trying to play like he, you know, this is M-Thang for 600. He's saying, don't believe the remorse. He's still saying free Bite Down, paid attorney with his own money. Don't believe the remorse. I didn't see any remorse in that. I'm not going to lie. But I do think that it is buffoonery to support this guy. They're saying that he's mentally challenged. Okay. They're saying rumors. They're saying don't believe the rumors. People saying remorse. He was meant to say don't believe the rumors. But yeah, Lil Zay, you know, he's saying he put money on his head in jail, and everybody's celebrating. And realistically, yeah, it's definitely not free Bite Down. You're gonna have to keep Bite Down realistically for as long as possible, all of his life. I'm not trying to see Bite Down on the street ever again. That's no disrespect to the 600 members. You know, I ain't smoking on anybody. I ain't disrespecting anybody. But this was a heinous crime. Justice was served and delivered. It took, what, 7 years? Maybe more than 7 years to get justice. But ain't no female judge. Talking about, oh, female judge. People always love to talk about these biases, bro. You killed innocent people in their home. Absolutely unacceptable. Woman lost both of her children, and you tried to kill her. Yeah, we're not jacking that. And Lil Zay was kind of in the right all along about this one. So, you know, apologies, no disrespect to any 600 members, but yeah, we're going to have to let's just move on from Bite Down at this point, okay? That appeal ain't going nowhere. It's done. So, yep, Bite Down, probably going to be getting a serious sentence, probably getting life. Some people are saying he already got life, but I don't think the sentencing has happened. I think he's just had his guilty verdict, and rightly so. This ain't no honorable gang-on-gang violence. He didn't catch bodies for the gang. He wasn't defending himself. He was just being an absolute clown and just harming weak people. Harming weak people that realistically, you know, you had to use a gun on a female in their own house, man. Like, they were saying he was a domestic abuser. And, you know, he even had to try and settle this domestic dispute with a gun, which is just not honorable. It's very pathetic. It's not cool. It's not tough. And we're not jacking it whatsoever. So, yeah. See ya. See ya, Bite Down. See you later, man. See ya never. I hopefully never see ya. I really hope I never see Bite. If I see Bite Down, That is a bad day for me, man. That is actually a very bad day for me. So yeah, let me know what you guys think below. I'm going to come back with some more updates today. But yep, Bitedown, man. Went outside. It's only right. Catch you in the next video. Peace.